What is going on, everybody? Simply10 here, and today I have another video for you, and this one is all about the collectible minifigure series that LEGO comes out and releases. So a couple of months ago, I released a video talking about the top 10 figures in the LEGO Harry Potter collectible minifigure series 2, and that video, it did pretty good for me. It was probably one of my first videos that kind of blew up and, blew up for, someone who has like 100 subscribers. So, I'm trying to, ride off of that excitement of my previous collectible minifigure series video and create this one based off of the brand new collectible minifigure series that LEGO just came out and released at the beginning of this year. And, I'll probably also, mention a couple of other things that I kind of think about this new series because it's a little different than we've ever seen in LEGO before, so I'll for sure talk about that in just a minute. But, without further ado, here are the top 10 collectible minifigures in the brand new Series 21. Just one thing that I would like to mention before we begin here is the fact that I am a channel here on YouTube, which means that I make content like this pretty often, and obviously, like I mentioned earlier, I have actually already made a collectible minifigure series video. If you're interested in that one, you should go and check that one out. But if you really enjoyed this video and you like my 10-step method, well, that's kind of what I do in most of my videos because I'm simply 10. So if you enjoyed this one, be sure to hit that subscribe button and that bell so you don't miss out on my next great video. And actually, there are prizes if you guys can get me to 1,000 subscribers. But enough about me, it's now time to talk about what you came here for, and that is the collectible minifigure series 21. So in 2010, LEGO released their very first collectible minifigure series. And well, they were fun. People could go out and collect these minifigures and try and get as many of them as possible, or just the ones they wanted. And they were usually in the range of like 16 to like 20 different figures. They didn't really have a set amount, it was just kind of like how many they felt like putting into a series. But all of that changed at the beginning of this year with this brand new Series 21 because LEGO actually has set out this thing that they are now going to put 12 minifigures in each series. So I mean, if you're looking at on like the high side, the Harry Potter collectible minifigure series 1 actually had 22 figures in it, so they've basically shrunken it down to 10. Like, they've shrunken the max down 10. And what this does, other than the fact that there are less figures to collect now, it also decreased the size of the box that they came in. Before, they were in these boxes that had like 3 rows and probably like about 21 in each row, and then you were able to find all of them inside of these like bigger, gigantic sized boxes, and it's kind of fun to like rummage around in them, and hopefully by the end of it you found all the figures in that series. But now a third of that box size has actually been cut off, and there are only 2 rows with the same number of figures in them, and then there's 12 to collect. But there are pros and cons to it. Some people like it, some people don't. What I'm here to tell you is the fact that that's just kind of how it is. And I thought it was just, an interesting and unique point that I should probably bring up before I talk about the top 10 figures in this brand new, groundbreaking series for LEGO. And like most of my top 10 videos, I'm going to count down from 10 to 1. That way you have to wait until the end to see my very favorite figure in this series. So that all starts with number 10, which is the Airplane Girl. Now keep in mind that there are only 12 figures in the series, so most of the figures, in the series won't be left out. That it kind of is almost all of them. So this is kind of like one of the very last figures on this list. Like, it's one of the worst figures in my opinion in this series. And it's just because it's not that exciting to me. Like, I like, the fun little plain mold thing that they have with it, and like the little girl with like the hat on and stuff. I think it's a fun figure. It's just not really unique in terms of something that I really want for, like just a fun, unique figure that you can only get out of a series like this. Next up here at number 9, we have the Alien, and I actually like this figure. I just had a hard time putting it higher just because there's really nothing that like really popped on this figure to me. He does have a uniquely molded head, which is, like a bonus in that category, but just his printing in general just doesn't quite stand out to me. The colors just kind of seem like very basic and like very bland, and obviously, he does have nice printing and things like that, but it's just not exactly like, it doesn't seem as like high quality in my opinion as some of the other figures in this series. Next up at number 8 here, we have the Violin Kid, and I actually really like this figure. I think that his violin is really cool, it's really fun, it's something that, it's hard to get from LEGO, and that's kind of what I want out of these minifigure series. And then his shirt is actually fun, how it's like a classic LEGO logo thing for one of their themes, so I think that's a fun little thing that they added in there. And well, he just has a really nice design to him, and for whatever reason, he just stands out more to me than some of the other figures in this series, and he just looks really nice. Like, he's just a really well thought out, clean figure with a cool violin and a fun little print that refers back to like an older LEGO theme. Next up at number 7 here, we have the Shipwreck Survivor, and I actually think that this guy is really cool. I think that he has a really fun print. He's a fun idea how he has like that, like overgrown hair, and like he has like the torso that's all like, like scratched up and stuff, and he has really cool leg printing. I think they did a really good job in terms of the design of this figure, and he really stands out because of that. The little crab that he comes with is also a fun idea, and I've actually never seen that crab before. It may have existed before now, but that could also, kind of be like a unique thing that they put into this minifigure. But he just looks like a really nice Castaway figure, and I think he's really cool and something that you should definitely be looking into if you're considering buying figures from this series. Next up on this list is something that I could not put any lower, and that is the Cabaret Singer. She's just a really unique figure to me, like with her specially molded headdress and then her swoopy cape. I like her microphone, I like her printing, I just think that she looks like a really nice, unique figure that I don't, like, it seems like it'd be a very unlikely figure that you'd ever find in an actual LEGO set. And the style of her figure is something that I've really never seen from a collectible minifigure series before. Like sometimes LEGO almost just remakes some of their old ones and sort of upgrades them into different kinds of people where they were sort of, inspired by previous series, but this figure itself is actually very unique and very uniquely designed, and if that sort of like rarity factor is important to you, she's definitely a cool one to go and pick up. Next up at number 5, we have the Centaur Warrior, and I think that just by looking at this, you can tell why she's like in the top half of this list, and that's because of just the fact that she's a centaur. Like, LEGO literally just produced the centaur piece in the summer wave of Harry Potter of 2020, so this is a brand new piece basically, and they're deciding to put it into another figure. It was a fun idea to use that piece because it's definitely a much more cartoony style compared to the Harry Potter centaurs that you see, so it's just a really like different way of using that piece even though it is still a centaur. And this is a cool one for people who really aren't that into Harry Potter, but they wanted, like a fun little LEGO centaur. This is definitely a great way to pick that kind of piece up. She also, has really nice printing. I like the accessories that they gave her, and I like her hair, even though it's kind of basic, it does the job, and everything about her just kind of gets the job done, and then the centaur piece is what really brings the figure together and makes it so high on this list. Next up at number 4, almost for the sheer lack of just how many accessories this figure comes with, is the Paddle Surfer. She has a dolphin, she has a paddle, she has a surfboard that she can paddle around with. I actually really like those hats that, have like the ponytail coming out of them, so that's another bonus like added thing to it. And her printing does look nice, like I like the look of it. I think it's a really clean design. Everything about this figure just kind of fits together really nicely, and then the amount of accessories definitely puts it higher up on the list. Everything's just kind of working for this figure to make it one of the best of this series. And here at number 3, we have almost like a shout out to a really old LEGO theme, and that is the Space Police guy. LEGO used to have a Space Police theme that, kind of died out a few years ago, so it's still kind of recent, but it's definitely something that's definitely considered part of the past and part of LEGO's history. It's not really a part of its present anymore. And well, this figure was a great way to almost bring that back in a way for, people who may have either like loved that theme and they want like one final thing to cap it off, or people who like wish they were around and had money for that theme. I think this figure was a good idea, and I like his cool shield, I like his, his weapon, I like his, like everything about his like design is very basic looking, but that's kind of the point, and I think it's a cool idea, and it's definitely one of the figures that you should pick up if you're really into collecting these collectible minifigures. He also probably is supposed to sort of be with the alien, so, keep that in mind. Maybe the alien should be higher on your list if you're really into the Space Police guy. That way you can sort of have, like, both of them that sort of, go together and match well, and, there's always figures that sort of do that in these minifigure series. Number 2 is the Beekeeper. This guy is just really awesome. I like his really cool like hat. I like the little honeycomb piece that he comes with. Even though, it's just a plate, I think it's fun. I like, all of his printing. I like the designing all around him. The only thing that I think would have been fun if they'd included was some sort of like Lego bee. I think that would have really finished off this figure. But honestly, I would get it either way just because it's a really cool one. And it's just a really unique kind of figure that you don't really see, and obviously that's kind of the point of these collectible minifigure series, but you don't really see this kind of figure in any kind of set. And I don't know if his helmet is a specially molded piece, but it could easily be, and that's just what makes these minifigure series so fun. And finally, here at number 1, this figure could not be knocked off of this spot. Like, there's no way you could ever convince me that any figure on this list is better than this one, and that is the Ancient Warrior. His helmet mold is really cool, his printing is really awesome, he has a really nice weapon. Everything about this figure just looks, like, awesome. Like, he just looks so cool, and everything about him is just amazing. I really like, like the Native American look to him, and the way that everything just kind of like looks really like scrapped together, and like I think he looks really awesome, and it kind of brings in almost the culture of Native Americans. Like, he's just a really cool figure, and almost just like a call out, a shout out to, like the past of our world. And you always gotta love those specially molded helmets just for these minifigure series, which is exactly what this figure is wearing. And there's no way, like, ever in the history of the world that anyone who collects these collectible minifigures does not want to get this one. Alright, so with all of them lined up here, it's time to give you my second part of this video, and that is the field guide on how to obtain them. And obviously I'm, no expert on this, but I thought I should give you, some ideas of what to look for if you're trying to find any of these top 10 figures on my list. If you're looking for the airplane girl, her dead giveaway is for sure that airplane. There's no way that if you can't find that airplane. If you can't find the airplane, then she is not in that box. And the alien figure is a little bit harder to find just because he doesn't have, a really unique thing to him. But his specially molded head will feel kind of weird in the bag, and then his crystal will feel kind of weird, so just feel for two, weird cylindrical things, and then you'll for sure be picking up the alien. The violin kid will be pretty easy if you can find that violin, but if you can't, his hair is also pretty unique to the series. There's really not very many people in this series with hair for some reason. So just look for that hair and the violin and you'll be set. The shipwreck survivor is actually the only figure in this series with a bottle, so look for the bottle first, and then confirm with, the hair or the crab or piece or something. The cabaret singer has the unique mold of her headdress, so for sure feel for that, and then maybe her microphone if you just, you want to be certain. The centaur warrior, there's no need to feel for anything else, just feel for that centaur piece because that centaur piece is just way too bulky and way too unique to ever be mistaken for anything else. To find the paddle surfer, for sure feel for the dolphin. That would definitely really help you out. And then the surfboard will definitely, also combine together with the dolphin, and you'll for sure know that that's the paddle surfer. For the space police guy, feel for his shield and then for his helmet, and those two things combined together will make it, decent enough. It'll be pretty easy to find this figure, but he might be a little bit harder just because he doesn't have one of those big, bulky, defining features that some of these other ones have. Usually people like the beekeeper are the hardest, but this one actually will be pretty simple because there's no other figure in this series with a 2x2 tile, so just look for that and you'll find the beekeeper. And obviously you can confirm it with his specially molded helmet, but sometimes that's hard with helmets because they kind of all feel the same, so for sure look for that tile, and then look for the helmet just to make sure. And finally for the ancient warrior, look for his specially molded helmet, that's way too hard to miss. And then just to confirm, look for his sword, and obviously if you have those two things, you for sure have found the best figure in this series. But anyways, that is all that I had to say for today. Thank you so much for watching. I hope that you enjoyed this video. I hope that you found it enlightening, but also, entertaining enough that you were willing to watch it to the end. And will also helpful in terms of that final purchase decision when buying these collectible minifigures. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to let me know by leaving a like or even a comment in the section down below letting me know what I did well or what maybe I should change about the next one, because I'm always looking for improvements and ways to bring more people in, so be sure to let me know what you think. And if you really enjoyed this video, be sure to really consider subscribing because I could really use it, and I know that you could too with my great content, so really consider hitting that subscribe button and that bell so you don't miss out on my next great video and even, my next top 10 collectible minifigure series video. And don't forget about those prizes if you guys can get me to 1,000 subscribers. But in the end, always what I really hope for is to see you in the next one.